Hello everyone, welcome to week 2. Congratulations on getting week 1 done and your discussion boards up. And now moving on to week 2. Before we get into week 2, I just want to say thank you for the introductions. It's great to get the insight of each of you and who you are, and knowing that there are definitely stressors that our students experience, even if they seem minimal or we haven't seen many of them. They're there just as much as those of you that shared about the extreme experiences you've had, whether it's been in lockdown situations, just because of environments nearby or something that's happened on your campus. So thank you for being willing to share. I think a lot of this class is going to be sharing our experiences when it comes to the discussion board and the questions and how we relate to it as well. So now on with week 2 and what we're looking at for week 2. So I'm just looking at the topics that are right in here to briefly discuss those, and then our tasks. So Code of Ethics is really thinking of a school's expectation. For Red Hill Elementary, where I'm the principal, that Code of Ethics is followed through with our PBIS, Positive Behavior Intervention Support System, where we have our 3 values, core values, and that for us is being respectful, being responsible, building relationships, but really making sure that each school site has a clear code of ethics of what we expect, and that's shared with parents as well. So your discussion board is going to ask you to share about that. I'll talk about that in a moment. Then looking at the legal and ethical issues that's faced, I think clearly for us as a reminder for being credentialed teachers in the state of California, a new assembly law has passed where we've always been mandated reporters, but if we choose not to report, we could actually lose our credentials and be fined as well if we ignore the issue. Sometimes I know some teachers have tried to say, I reported it to my administrator, so I've done my job, and that's clearly not the case any longer. You are expected to report, and let's say that you and your administrator both know about it. The requirement is that you both make that report. Just with some cases that have gone on in particular districts up and down the state of California of mistreatment of students by the teachers themselves and not reporting it, which again CPS is involved with that. So really thinking about the legality and the ethical issues that can come up from that, and you'll be reading that in your text, and then talking about the family problems of at-risk children and the dynamics that come up from that, and the possible separation that happens, and the stress that it places on families as well, which then comes back into the classroom. So those are really the topic points of what we're going to do. So the task, I'm just going to sort of walk us through it, is to watch the video that you're hopefully watching right now, and then getting into our Christian message. Really, as we look at the expectations of our schools, Christ has really given us expectations as Christians as well to love the Lord your God with all of your heart and with all of your soul and with all of your mind, and then the idea of the golden rule, treat others as you would want them to treat you. Those pieces come apart, so I just encourage you to be reflective of that during this week. So the readings of this week are really from your text, chapters 3 and 4, looking at the ethical issues as well as the legality issues that come up. And so you've got the slideshows for each of those components. I'm just going to pull up the chapter 3, legal and ethical issues, just giving you that overview of what hopefully you've read from your text and some key highlights to take from it. Chapter 4 will have that as well. Then to get into the discussion boards, there are 2 discussion board components. Some of you have already taken a peek, even though it's not the ending of week 1 already and has started that. Great for you. No judgment there. Just saying some of you taking that peek. But the number 1 discussion board is asking you to start selecting your topic for your assignment on the research paper that is due in week 6. So there's a list of assignments that have been generated from our course captains that we ask you to do research on. What you're going to do in your discussion board is under the heading of the discussion board, you're going to change it to the topic that you want to focus on and give some background and understanding for me to understand why you want to focus on that topic. The goal is to have at the most 2 people doing the same topic, so trying to look at variations. So that encouragement of get on the discussion board quickly, If you see one person who has the topic and you're also interested in it, like I said, 2 is the most that we want to go through, so that way there's some variance of what the presentation side of it that comes out as well. And then the second discussion board is actually thinking about your school's code of conduct, ethic expectation. You heard me share about my school's PBIS and our core values of our 3 Rs. So you're going to ask to be talked about that, as well as give link to the proof of that ethical expectation at your school and some insight into it as well. So those are the 2 discussion board comments. I'm sorry, 2 discussion board questions that will be focused on. And then this is the week. Your pamphlets are due. We talked about it in week 1. It is that pamphlet to give information to teach about a particular topic. Think of it as a trifold, front and back, coming into it, that teaches on how to handle a particular topic or stressor issue, or violence, and discussing how to support students who experience violence. Think of bullying, a lot of different topics that can be there, but your goal is to get that submitted. Just a reminder, here's your layout again. Your assignment criteria, what's expected, and then the grading rubric is also laid out that you can click on. So wondering how I'm going to grade, just click on the grading rubric. So the pamphlet really is to inform students, parents, teachers, or school professionals about your topic dealing with stress or violence, and it must include the definition of the topic, the cause, the symptoms, vulnerabilities, and what can be done about the situation, how to solve it, places to go for help, those aspects. So please make sure that you are, when giving that information, citing your sources. So it's not a written paper, but APA expectations are still to be there. If you're going to cite an organization, please cite it correctly. Maybe give references down at the bottom of the particular content block, or finding a back page area content block that can be your references, because please know we will be grading on APA as well. So that is the assignment that is due this Sunday by 11:59. And then to look ahead, you heard me talk about the discussion board being one of them being about the selecting of your research paper. So this is the rubric and explanation of the research. So you're going to write a 7 to 8 research paper that is on the topic that you've chosen. Once I give you the okay, which I'll respond back in the discussion board to the okay of it, of coping with stress and violence. And you need to have 8 sources listed in there, and make sure that you use the APA headings to break up the paper, so that way you give clarity. Don't feel like you have to give transition after transition, but use the APA heading and the heading levels to give that transition for you. And then know from there that is due week 6, and then you will be creating somewhat of a presentation component that summarizes your pieces, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But right now I just want to give you the overview of making sure that you're starting to think about your paper that's due in week 6. So this is the signature assignment for the class. So it is something that will be accessible for Concordia admin to look at and evaluate the success of this class as well, overall for the program. So know that's coming in. And then the other thing to bring up is, here's the rubric components of what we're looking for. And then coming up in by week 4 is part of your binder assignment. I brought that up a little bit. It's pretty much you're creating a binder of resources that will have you find support or give others ways to find support. So it's overall you're going to have 20 different resources, but by week 4 we're looking for half of that. So 10 resources available. You'll you will follow the template here, which I've clicked on. You will make a copy of that, create it your own, where it's your name. So the binder number, so you're going to have 20 different entries. By week 4, it's 10 entries. Who's the audience? Is it for students, teens, parents, families? Why this entry? What is it? Directly stating what it is, and then giving a summary of that statement, and then what services are provided, from this resource and where we can find that information. And pretty much you'll copy, paste, and do another entry on another page. So again, this is the resource template expected from that. Really looking at trying to address different issues. I'm going to tell you, you might want to look back at that list that I have from the research paper if you need some ideas or things that you're experiencing at your own school. What resources would be helpful? Taking the time to invest in you, but invest for this course as well. So that's coming up again, not due till week 4, and it's only half of it. So looking for 10 entries. By the end of week 8, it will be the full 20 entries that come from there. So overall, that's the week at a glance, and then a little preview of things coming up ahead. I do want to encourage you, if you have any questions for clarification, to text me, give me a call or an email, and I will try and respond as quickly as possible. I hope that you have a great week and find encouragement in the work that you do. It makes a difference for kids, even in some of the tough situations. Thank you for all that you do. God bless.